Up until recently, if you wanted a fast, mid-sized German SUV, your choices were limited. You could get an Audi SQ5 with a 3-litre turbo diesel V6 and now in a petrol V6, or you could get the Mercedes-AMG GLC63, one of the hardest riding cars I've ever driven. But the high-ups at AMG, they knew we wanted more. They knew we didn't need it, but they knew we wanted more. And so they've given us this. This, I'm scarcely unable to believe I am saying this, is the Mercedes GLC63 AMG. It's a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 monster. I guess when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, who doesn't want a 2-ton family SUV that can crack 100 kilometres an hour almost as quickly as a McLaren 540C? I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Available in both wagon and coupe forms, the GLC63 starts at $164,900 for the wagon and $171,900 for the coupe, which is $60,000 more than the GLC43, which itself is 10 grand more than the Audi SQ5. Visually, it's pretty aggro. There's a huge AMG GT style grille called Panamericana, a front bumper that's supposed to be styled like a jet fighter's, a huge set of blacked out 21-inch alloys, carbon mirrors and other bits, rear diffuser and quad exhausts. All up, it looks reasonably beefy, I think you'll agree. The coupe is pretty much the same, just with a BMW X4 style drop off at the rear, complete with a big fat spoiler hanging off the back. On balance, it looks tougher, especially in a darker colour, but neither is especially pretty. Technically, they're not much different, so there's no particular reason to choose one or the other. The coupe is slightly heavier, the wagon has more cargo space. They're both packed full of stuff, which explains the 2-ton curb weight. There's tons of safety gear and a thumping sound system, but no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. There's lots of Napa leather and open pore wood inside, and there is a familiar set of air vents.
Up front, and as you might expect, it's very comfortable. Standard are the AMG Performance seats, which are a little bit on the grabby side if you're a little larger, or you can specify these sports seats. I've never really been on board with this command system. I just find it a little bit counterintuitive at times, but it is getting better, and the comments are there, so you can tell me I'm wrong. Look, it's really nice in here. I tend to find Mercedes interiors a little bit gaudy, but this one is reasonably toned down. The wood's nice. I really love the texture of this wood. Yeah, I know that's weird. I don't like the chintzy looking speakers, but on the whole it's pretty good. There are a lot of buttons in here though. Back here, things are pretty spacious actually. I'm sitting behind my driving position, plenty of space. Here, 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 and here. You've also got a rear armrest with cubby holes so you can fit phones and things in there. And you've got a pair of cup holders and you have your own air vents with your own controls and a little cubby under there. Pretty comfortable, but if you were to sit in the middle, I think you would find it rather unpleasant. So it's really a 4-seater, definitely not 5 adults. So the boot sizes, they're the main difference between the wagon and the coupe, apart from the fact that the coupe is a little heavier and a little lower. So here in the coupe you got 500 litres and in the wagon you got 550. In the wagon you also get 1600 with the seats down, where it's 1400 with the seats down here in the coupe. So really that's the only compelling difference between the two. They do both have quite a high loading lip. But you're not here to hear about how nice the open pore wood is or how much room the kids have, are you? No. You're here to see what makes this thing boogie. Let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Underneath the bonnet is AMG's 4-litre twin-turbo V8 spinning out 375 kilowatts and a massive 700 newton meters of torque. It's also got a 9-speed auto, which usually spells drama.
Naturally, it's all-wheel drive, but most of the time the power goes towards the rear. There is a very sophisticated all-wheel drive system under here that can send the power to any wheel it wants, anytime it wants. Now, because it's rear bias, it always feels really fast and really punchy, and of course, I really like that. And here in the S, which is the only version we get here in Australia, you get the electronic limited slip diff rather than a mechanical one, which means it'll wiggle a bit when you really boot it. It's got dynamic damping, That's pretty obvious, but it's also got air springs. So the GLC43, while a lot of fun, is very, very hard when it hasn't got the air springs. So here we get those air springs because let's face it, our roads are crap.
The brakes are massive composite units and you can step up to carbon ceramics if you fancy a track day or two. The Michelin tyres are pretty good too.
It is, as you could quite reasonably expect, insanely fast. This is such a fun, silly, fast car. I'm really enjoying myself, as you can see. I was worried the ride was going to be terrible, even with the air suspension, but it's really good. Like, I never feel like a bump's going to really cause any drama. And, you know, I'm going pretty quickly and have been going pretty quickly. It's really something. It's so... I mean, it's firm, you can feel it, and there's no body roll, of course, but because that would be insane. And this 9-speed transmission, which normally I get a bit worried about when there's a 9-speed transmission involved, it's good. There's no hunting, and it shifts fast, and it shifts positively, and there's no hunting. So, you know, when we were dribbling out of the city, it behaved itself, and coming out of this kind of road, it behaves itself. It's finding the right gear and using it, or you just shift it yourself, which is even better. Let's get down to the real business of driving a car. It's very comfortable and it's very fast and it's really practical. Like, you know, mid-size SUVs are really popular for a reason because they work for everybody. You can find yourself in one of these quite happily. It's, you know, even the rear-wheel drive GLC200, it's a practical car, and of course this is still the same practical, sensible family car. But out on the open road, so we're now on a nice long straight, it's really comfortable, you can settle back, even in race mode, which is what I'm in, it's nice. But it responds when you decide to have a go, and that's the mark of a really versatile, fast car, I think. You know, the fact that you can ride along quite easily and happily and then flick a switch and gun it. I will say though, just then I got my wheel onto the dirt and the traction control is quite brutal. It just cut out. But you got to remember, it's 2 tons. If it doesn't cut out, you could find yourself in some trouble. But yeah, I'd prefer it if it was a little bit softer, as in just a softer cutout. But apart from that, yeah, this is great. I can't get over how comfortable it is. It's terrific. It's so much fun, but it's such a sensible day-to-day car because it does ride and it does carry your stuff. Can't argue with that.